Back in October 1814, an enormous vat of beer cracked open at the London brewery Mew & Company. Some 4.5 million pints of beer gushed out, sending a wave of booze 30 feet high, gushing through the streets of London. The force of the flow completely demolished 2 houses and flooded the basements of many others. The accident happened in a very poor area of the city where many families lived in tiny basement rooms with limited access. With all of this said, we should be thankful that only 8 people died, although that is, of course, 8 too many. 63. Smuggling animals from country to country is not a particularly good thing to do, either from a moral or a legal standpoint. It's also a really bad idea if the animal you've chosen to smuggle is a crocodile, and the subtle method you've chosen is to stuff it into a sports bag and take it with you on a plane as carry-on luggage. Yet that was exactly the scenario that presented itself on a flight out of the Democratic Republic of the Congo in 2010. In mid-flight, the crocodile burst its way out of the bag and caused chaos on the plane, at one point finding its way into the cockpit, causing the small plane to fall into an unrecoverable downward spiral. How do we know this was the sequence of events that led to the plane crash and the death of 20 souls? One human survivor lived to tell the tale. Oh, and so did the crocodile. 64. There are 3 deaths which are of particular note. Those of Georgy Dobrovolsky, Vladislav Volkov, and Viktor Patsayev. The 3 Russian cosmonauts tragically died when the Soyuz spacecraft in which they were traveling depressurized prior to re-entry. The location of the capsule at the time means that they are the only humans we know of who have died outside of the Earth's atmosphere. 65. You'll often read of what the textbooks say is the first death on the railways, a certain William Huskisson, who was run over by George Stephenson's rocket in 1830. But 15 years before, another locomotive was in fact responsible for some 16 deaths. But because it was on an industrial wagonway, it is not as widely known. Brunton's Mechanical Traveller had an unusual propulsion method. Although it was steam-powered, rather than the pressure turning the wheels, it operated a complex arrangement of mechanical feet, which pushed the locomotive along. Even today, a contraption like that would attract a crowd. So it was back then, when a large number of onlookers gathered to see the strange beast in action. Unfortunately, when the boiler exploded, those closest to the deadly machine had no time to react, resulting in the first railway accident to cause a major loss of life. 66. Back in medieval times, drowning was statistically the most common cause of accidental death. In one particularly notable case from August 1389, Johanna Appleton was drawing water from a well when she accidentally fell in. Witnessing the incident, an unnamed servant ran to her aid and also fell in. A third bystander who had seen the first 2 incidents then approached to assist and also fell in. There was no one else present, which may have been a good thing. After all, how long could this have gone on for? So, unfortunately, all 3 died of drowning. Before you ask, it seems that investigators of the time pieced together the sequence of events from how the bodies were arranged. 67. Pity the players, and to a certain extent the supporters, of football team Basanga, who were in the middle of a match when a violent storm broke out. A bolt of lightning is believed to have hit the pitch in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, killing all 11 Basanga players and injuring some 30 spectators. Incredibly, every single member of the home team escaped the tragedy relatively unscathed. 68. In 2015, an incredible 69 people died at a funeral in Mozambique. The cause was found to be the beer that the guests had drunk, which turned out to be poisonous.